beyond like probably number 1 and 2.
Yeah, I'll probably just stop where I am before I get myself.
They could all be tied for like number 3. I put The Thing on top.
Okay.
Because I think that's his masterpiece.
His magnum opus is The Thing, all right?
I think so, but I mean, you could argue Halloween, and I'm not gonna say anything against that. Well, Halloween, like I said, has the cultural footprint.
All right, so my argument with that is, all right, The Thing, with Halloween, you have this iconic slasher who's stood the test of time, obviously, but The Thing is a shape-shifting, alien, and other than thinking of Kurt Russell's character, like, what is the kind of, and I'm not talking about the artwork, but what's like the iconic monster?
The spider, the head with spider legs.
Okay.
Is what I would say.
Yeah, and I guess yeah.
After like one of the great sequences in the film, which is where they test the blood.
Yes.
Or no, that's where they test the blood.
I guess you have a point with the spider monster.
The spider monster comes after the guy has the heart attack and the doc zaps him. Which is a great sequence because he loses his arms. The guy's head comes off, turns into a spider. The other guy has that great line of, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
Or what about the effects with the dog when the dog changes?
Yeah.
It's fucking
incredible.
Up. Yeah.
Incredible. But I always put The Thing number 1 because I think that's his best film.
Okay.
But like I said, Halloween doesn't have the cultural footprint it does if it was a bad movie. And Halloween is great.
And was made on almost nothing.
Yeah. Kind of sets the template for what horror movies are throughout at least the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, it broke down the door for that kind of culture to be normalized in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, and that score is incredible. It's not my favorite because you know how much I love Assault on Precinct 13 score. But, Halloween is, the close second. And then I think my number 3 might be what your number 3 is. I think Assault on Precinct 13. I had real trouble ranking after that. Because my dad was a big fan of Escape from New York, so I've seen Escape from New York a shit ton of times, and I love it.
Yeah.
My dad introduced me to a lot of the Carpenter movies, not necessarily the horror movies, but like Assault on Precinct 13 and Escape from New York. Even though it's a shitty movie, he took me to see Escape from LA when it came out.
That was when, like 93?
96? No, like summer of 96.
Oh, okay.
We were kind of like, yeah, it's not that good, and Escape from New York is so much fucking better, but it was still pretty cool that my dad loved the Escape from New York and, took me to see Escape from LA.
Was he like a big fan of John Carpenter, or was it just like he loved these movies and didn't?
I think he just loved the movies. I didn't think he really paid attention to directors as much.
Oh, okay.
But, because he was a big Escape from New York fan. He loved Big Trouble in Little China. I used to watch it with him all the time because that was one of my favorite movies. Still is. I love Big Trouble in Little China. And that was like HBO. It was always on HBO, so I watched it so many times and always had a good time. And my parents loved Starman, so I watched Starman a bunch too. And Starman, like, the score is great, especially the end title. If you've never seen Starman, you should watch it. Oh. And pay attention. The end title is great.
I'll check it out.
Like I said, Prince of Darkness, I think, is so underrated. and I really enjoy that movie. And my buddy Chris Asakawa introduced me to that years ago. Me and Joel would always be at Asakawa's house watching movies, and there was always a few times where like he busted out something that neither Joel or I had seen. And I remember Prince of Darkness being one of those movies. So I would say probably The Thing, Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13. Probably Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from New York got to be tied.
Okay.
Given the amount of times I watched them as a kid. And so, like I said, being able to... My dad liking those movies a lot and being the one that introduced me to them. And then I'd probably say Prince of Darkness after that. They Live. Like I said, it was really hard ranking after that because just I love these movies a lot, and I'd have a hard time ranking them. But I would probably say the top 5 would be The Thing, Halloween, Assault on Precinct 13, Escape from New York, and Big Trouble in Little China. Which, please don't ever remake Big Trouble in Little China. There's a reason why it works.
I thought I heard that they had some kind of plans and then they scrapped them, but I could be...
For years, like, The Rock was going to remake it.
Oh, no.
And it was like, why? Why? It's a big star. You know, he was going to be... It was either going to be like he was the hero, or he was going to kind of force being like the wisecracking, not as smart as he thinks he is guy. But it would have been so forced. With Kurt Russell, it works. Where he thinks he's a badass and he thinks he's smart, but he's really the sidekick. So I thought that was a good question to end on. Was, you know, give me some Carpenter rankings.
Yeah,
I know that you've covered The Thing before. I know that I've talked about it when we were doing the horror movies way back when. I know that you did a legit show on it with James a couple years after that. But beyond vampires, you really haven't covered any Carpenter movies, have you?
No, because we haven't even... I don't think we've even talked about Halloween.
Yeah, I was surprised that you've never talked about Halloween, given how much I know you love it.
I don't know why. Maybe it's just like I thought it was going to be too obvious.
That's okay. It's obvious sometimes. What did I tell you last year after we did the Best Of show? Your favorite movie of the year is a horror movie. My favorite movie of the year was a sci-fi movie. How obvious was that?
Yeah, it was.
Given our love for those respective genres.
What's that movie that student film that somebody you knew? What the fuck about that?
Oh God.
Yeah.
You should beep that, dude. I don't even want that title on air. Fuck that guy. Please beep that.
I'm pretty sure I still...
Beep it out. It'll be funny.
I think I still have your copy in my collection of the Sickness House.
Don't lose that, dude. That's a good movie. That's a good movie to watch and just be like, what the fuck? I just referenced it with Joel like a few weeks ago too. I think we were talking about The Northman, you know, because we had gone to go see it, and I guess Eggers had been doing some press for it and said like he couldn't watch The Witch because he felt that he was like just starting out and he wasn't as strong of a director when he made that movie as he is now that he made The Northman, and it was like, whoa, like, dude, that movie is like hands down a masterpiece, a horror masterpiece. And like you're sitting there and you're being like, yeah, I can't watch it. It's not really that good. And I referenced like an interview that the director of House had done. He's like, even though it didn't come out the way I really wanted it to, I'm still very proud of it. he's given the mea culpa for how shitty of a movie it is. And we were talking about that when we read that Eggers quote.
I didn't know Eggers had said that. That's but you know, I get it because he's one who, you know, wrote and directed it, so he's gonna see things that we don't necessarily see. But that movie's fucking fantastic, dude.
Yeah, and we both agree. It was like, I get it. You know, you're critical of your own work. You know, a lot of us are like that, where we'll read something or see something, or, you know, even with the podcast, if I go back and listen to the episodes that you and I do, I'm like, oh, I should have said this, or I should have said that, or I should have stated this more clearly. You know, I want to do over on that, but I get where he's coming from on it. But yeah, like, that movie's a fucking masterpiece. There's not a bad frame in it.
And coming out of the gate with something like that is like fucking whoa, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you gotta work up to your first great movie sometimes. Even though the guy we're talking about tonight did not, because his first great movie was his first actual movie.
Yeah.
And he had, like, bangers nonstop for, you know, the next 15 years.
So, dude, do you want to give a quick plug for next month's?
Next month, we are kicking off our first annual Summer of Sci-Fi, where each month in the summer we will be talking about a sci-fi film. We have some really good ones lined up this year. We have some really good ones lined up for next year, hopefully. But this year, we're going to cover a very famous sci-fi movie, one that I consider to be one of the top 3 of all time, very influential, having an anniversary this year. That's probably too much information that people can figure out, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Really excited. One of my all-time favorite films. One that I think Dennis, on one of your original episodes, talked shit on.
Really?
I think so. This was 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago now. I'm pretty sure he talked shit on it.
I mean,
it's one of my favorite films.
If you remember that, then it probably happened.
Because I just remember going, what the fuck? Like, one of my favorite movies of all time. So that's what we're going to kick it off with in June. In July, we got a big sci-fi blockbuster. Another one of my all-time favorite films. Probably my favorite film from this director. Big movie.
That's bold.
Having another anniversary. And then we're going to wrap up the Summer of Sci-Fi in August with a sci-fi movie that I think is extremely underrated. That I think is, I don't want to say influential, because I think a movie that was kind of similar to this was already in production at the time, but a very cool mashup of a couple of genres and a really underrated sci-fi film that I think not a lot of people have seen or remember. Those are the 3 we're going to talk about. I'm really excited to do it. Thank you so much for indulging me and letting me talk about sci-fi movies for 3 months straight.
Of course, man.
Really excited to talk about them. And that's what we're going to be doing. That's what we're going to have going on for the next few months.
I'm excited for all of them, obviously. Everybody will know why once we release, you know, what they are slowly. But in the one in August, dude, that's my shit. I've been mad for a lot of years because nobody gives this film any love, it seems. So I'm glad. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off. You finish.
Just that, you know, it doesn't get the love or admiration that I feel like it should. It's got a great cast, and it's blending 2 of my favorite genres simultaneously together. And it's going to be like a treat to discuss it in full with you, nonetheless. I'm excited to see it. This is a movie that I've always said, oh, man, this is an incredible film. You should check it out. Not many people have seen it. This is a movie, when I saw it in the theater, I was like one of 2 people in the theater. Wow. Watching this movie, and I was so disappointed. And no wonder it didn't really make a big splash at the box office. But I'm excited to talk about it. It's one that we've kind of teased that we were going to talk about before and have just never gotten to. And then when I had the idea to, possibly do like the Summer of Sci-Fi, I said, how about these 3 movies for this year? And he said, hell yes, especially to that one, because that's a movie that nobody talks about. Definitely.
And on the flip side of that, the movie we're going to talk about first is probably a movie that's been talked about to death, but it is one of my all-time favorite movies, and I just want to at least cover it.
It's